I'd say if you have places of in-person service, invest. There's huge return on investment. Every dollar you keep spending on e-commerce or call center has got diminishing marginal returns.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm joined by Yonatan Lavi, CEO of Qtrac and president of Lavi Industries, companies that are pioneering innovative queue management and crowd control solutions used by enterprise clients across retail, transportation, healthcare, and more. Yonatan's experience in enhancing customer experiences through technology has driven over 25 million in revenue growth. Today, we're going to dive into his approach to customer flow optimization, business development, and scaling lead generation. Yonatan, great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Yeah, let's get started. So can you share the story of Lavi Industries and Qtrac and really how you've evolved your business to lead in customer experience optimization?
So Lavi Industries is actually a 50-year-old family business. And the mission of the company is to manufacture architectural fixtures that make moving through public facilities safer, more pleasurable, and just overall better. The product that we're most known for are when you're in line at the airport, you have the stanchions with the retractable belt that keep you in line. But with that also different wayfinding solutions and some electronics that help just guide the public through these very large spaces, airports, stadiums, large hotel venues, and so on and so forth. Down the road, I had a thesis of building some additional software-based solutions that could potentially serve the same mission, which is queue management, crowd control. And we saw this interesting space called virtual queuing, which allowed people to go to, like, let's say, a Department of Motor Vehicles or a telecom store, and instead of physically standing in line, they could interact with the touch screen and hold a digital place in line. So that's called virtual queuing. So we incubated a tech venture within our family business, Lavi Industries. And eventually it grew organically. We called it Qtrac, thinking it would be just a product line within the family business. But as things go, it took a life of its own. We had all kinds of enterprise customers and saw that they weren't exactly a fit for one another, Lavi Industries and Qtrac. So we spun Qtrac into its own fast-growing tech business, and Lavi Industries continues to thrive, and they remain sister companies with some very loose collaboration. But that's the genesis of both businesses. Both serve what we call in real life. When you go out into public in real life and you interact with businesses to get services or go catch a flight, that's what those two businesses specialize in.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating, and you don't really think that there's a whole company that's behind this system that we a lot of us interact with on a day-to-day basis. But these types of solutions are really vital for enterprises to learn how to optimize these processes. You mentioned the digital systems that you guys are creating, but like what industry trends or innovations are currently shaping your offerings today?
I think Qtrac holds a lot of relevance because it's more of a tech space. But both businesses are experiencing the first trend, which is the return to real life. Basically, there was this big push during COVID, which was all about digital modernizing and investing in cloud-based solutions, remote solutions, whether that's video conferencing, call center software, anything that enabled kind of back of the house stuff and online. And we just see this huge resurgence of investment in brick and mortar in physical journeys, whether that's a return of Gen Z going back to stores to shop, or just back to increases and records in the transportation segment in passenger volumes. There's an overall big return to brick and mortar.
Yeah, I think it is really interesting how things have shifted back in that way.
Mm-hmm.
After doing some research before this episode, I understood just like how much your system is noted for reducing wait times and increasing the service efficiency for these enterprises that you serve. How have you designed your solutions to achieve this?
So, first of all, if we're talking about Qtrac, which is cloud-based customer experience software, basically what we see is in the digital channels for which major enterprises deliver customer service. That can be mobile banking on your mobile app. It can be calling a large retailer and going through the call center to sort out an optical prescription for the glasses you're wearing. There is tons of tech that helps you get help through digital means, and there's very little that helps facilitate the in-person experience. meaning you can go through this very fancy bot that helps you apply for a mortgage. You then run into an issue. You go to a bank maybe once a year. When you go to the branch, there's a piece of paper for checking in. So what we've done in building Qtrac is we've designed a software-based solution that can match a lot of the same journey automation and customer experience standards that you'd see from digital channels, but making it come to life in the branch, in the store, in the hospital.
Yeah, I think again, it's like an afterthought. And so you guys are really like creating such a much better experience. And so like, what advice would you offer to companies who are looking to improve their customer journey through technology and just like improving their processes?
I'd say if you have places of in-person service, invest. There's huge return on investment. Every dollar you keep spending on e-commerce or call center has got diminishing marginal returns. And I'd also say, if you think about your customer, you should think that you're maintaining one continuous conversation with your customer across channels. Don't think of your business as silos, call center, this store, e-commerce, one conversation with your customer. And so if you've got this great process that allows for, let's say, patients to book appointments with doctors, pull that experience all the way through into your hospital and make that check-in digital, make that, let's say, reminders automated to check into the appointment, make triage in the physical lobby, match the experience they have online. And the examples go on and on. If you apply for a mortgage online and you can do so by answering a questionnaire, make that same digital process exist in the branch so you have that seamlessness across the whole enterprise.
Yeah, I think that it's simple when you say it, but it's massively valuable. Like if you could actually implement that type of thinking to create a cohesive experience. For you personally, being that you do serve, enterprise level clients, what different marketing strategies are you currently using? I know you mentioned account-based marketing, but like how are you consistently filling your calendar with opportunities to help more of these companies that you've kind of figured out this system for improving their processes?
I think the most important thing is thought leadership. It's having something fresh to say that's genuinely helpful for the business community. And I think the key is genuinely helpful. It's very easy to get caught up in saying repetitive things because you've read some B2B SaaS inbound funnel book. It's also very easy to get caught up in futures with kind of very far distant tech trends that are also not helpful. So being able to give some thought leadership that can help enterprises think about strategies they can deploy today is something that can generate a lot of interest in your words. And then once people generate interest in the things we say, we can slowly pull them into a potential relationship through outbound sales, through follow-up content that may give them a little bit more insight on how we actually do it.
Definitely. I think it's key to actually like add value, right? And instead of just like blending in and becoming part of the noise. But just in your experience, I think, it would be really interesting to learn, like, what do you see are the biggest obstacles when it comes to scaling outbound lead generation for, B2B enterprise clients specifically?
If you're out there knocking on doors, you're going to get leads. I think one of the hardest things when it comes to scaling are your kind of go-to-market efficiency metrics. Basically, if you're running sales cycles that are 18 months long, you've got sales salaries that are running through that period of time. So your cost of acquisition goes way up. Obviously maintaining high deal win rates, which we do, is very helpful. But if you're scaling, you've got a bunch of enterprise deals running that are extremely expensive. Every loss is pretty impactful. Hardest part is in our business would be accelerating the sales cycle.
Yeah, that's really interesting to get just that perspective. I do assume that it takes a really long time to implement one of these systems and to kind of demonstrate it and really, move these decisions along with an enterprise level company.
Yeah. So there's the sales cycle, then there's the evaluation cycle, and then even an implementation cycle can take time. So basically, from stranger to dollar is what is probably one of the most important things to think about how you shorten as you scale up.
Yeah. Looking ahead, what growth opportunities are you most excited for?
That's a very good question. I think you can break it down into a variety of different categories. I think that there's new technologies that we can leverage internally that make going to market much more effective and exciting. So I think there's definitely opportunities of leveraging agentic AI and also workflow automation to make going to market much more effective, whether that's being much more precise with your outreach or I'd say being more insightful with kind of business intelligence with your various leads and deals. And then I'd say that another exciting opportunity within our space is, of course, also leveraging AI within our solution.
Fascinating. Yeah. I think AI is a game changer across all industries, but
Yeah.
it can revolutionize not just like the client acquisition, but also the client delivery, especially for, a use case like yours, which I'm sure, it's driven by intelligence, to optimize the process. I ask this question a lot and I get interesting answers. So I really like to ask it. If you had a magic wand, what would you change in your business immediately to help you achieve your goals?
If I had a magic wand, I'm going to give you one answer that's a little bit facetious because it's kind of not very possible, but I would make the bureaucracy, which is of course necessary, but often riddens large enterprises from making truly great decisions. I get rid of some of that bureaucracy and make them go way faster because we get so much more done. But some of these things are kind of a necessary evil and part and parcel of very large companies taking on some risk with new investments. Internally, I think that easier connection between the various platforms and data that we have to make what I call stranger all the way to renewal that much easier. Most businesses use a variety of different tools from ERP to CRM, support software, and there's all this fancy AI sprinkled around that. But kind of bringing everything together in a kind of secure, cohesive platform. If I could wave a magic wand and just be able to prompt across all platforms and run workflow automation across all platforms, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it's a good vision. I think it creates these ideas that, ultimately that's what we're trying to do is figure out, these massive problems to solve. And it may not happen tomorrow, but, if we have vision, we can set our goals really high.
I'd say on that front, the amount of hours of experimentation we have, of all the work hours, how much went into like AI, agentic AI and workflow automation experimenting, from like standing up MCP servers to working in make.com and trying to connect this with that, and all that stuff. I'm sure we spend at least 25% of our work hours.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what we're doing here as well, just because it opens up so much opportunities for leverage and for growth once you figure out like these new systems that can be implemented. But for anyone, who's listening, who wants to learn more and explore working with either Lavi Industries or Qtrac, where can they connect with you? Where can they get in touch with you?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn. They can also connect with me on Instagram and TikTok. That's kind of a newer development for me. I'll have some content up there very soon. I was never a social media guy, and over the past few months, I've been creating some useful and helpful content for customer experience. We'll be launching that very shortly. And then you've got lavi.com and qtrac.com to reach out. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Yonatan.
Thank you.